The massive screen in Earth's Global Defense Center flickered to life, revealing a sight that humanity had both expected and dreaded. 3 alien figures sat behind an ornate desk, their elongated heads and metallic skin reflecting the harsh lights of their chamber. The central figure's voice boomed through the speakers, translated in real time. "People of Earth, I am High Speaker Turner of the Galactic Council. Your species has been observed for the past 50 years, and we have reached a unanimous decision." Admiral James Walker stood straight, his weathered face betraying no emotion as he watched the transmission alongside Earth's collected military and political leaders. His gray eyes narrowed slightly, the only sign of his internal tension. The alien continued, "Humanity is too aggressive, too unpredictable to be allowed continued independence. Your wars, your rapid technological advancement, your expansion plans, they all point to a species that will destabilize our careful balance of peace." President Helen Ross leaned toward Walker and whispered, "They actually believe we're primitive enough to fall for this." Walker gave a slight shake of his head, maintaining his focus on the screen. "Therefore," the High Speaker declared, "the Council demands Earth's immediate surrender and integration into our governing body. Your military will be disbanded. Your space program will be supervised. Your technology development will be regulated. This is not a negotiation." The room remained silent. Decades of preparation had led to this moment, yet the reality of it still sent chills through those present. The alien's arrogance was exactly what Earth's intelligence had predicted. "You have 7 standard days to submit your formal acceptance," the High Speaker concluded. "Any resistance will be met with consequences that your species cannot comprehend. We await your response." The screen went dark. For several moments, nobody spoke. Then Admiral Walker turned to face the assembled leaders. "Ladies and gentlemen, Operation Silent Shield is now active. All preliminary preparations are complete. Around the world, deep underground bunkers hummed to life. Orbital platforms invisible to alien sensors began shifting positions. Hidden shipyards, concealed beneath the ice of Antarctica and the mountains of Mars, initiated launch sequences for vessels that would make the Council's tech look primitive. "What about the civilian population?" asked Defense Minister Thompson, his fingers nervously tapping his tablet. President Ross stepped forward. "The public announcement goes out in 1 hour. Every citizen knows their role. We've been preparing for this since first contact. Panic rooms are stocked. Emergency protocols are in place." Walker nodded, allowing himself a small smile. "The Council thinks they're dealing with a young, scattered species that barely understands faster than light travel. Their scans show exactly what we want them to see: outdated technology, divided nations, primitive defense systems." The room's atmosphere shifted from tension to quiet confidence. This was humanity's greatest deception, appearing weak while hiding unprecedented strength. "Begin the shutdown sequence," Walker commanded. "Make it look like we're powering down our defenses in preparation for surrender. Meanwhile, deploy the stealth fleet as planned." Across Earth's surface, visible military installations powered down. Satellite networks appeared to go offline. To any watching aliens, it would seem humanity was submitting to their demands. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Commander Anna Stone watched as her stealth carrier hummed to life. Similar scenes played out in hidden bases worldwide. The Council had no idea that Earth had mastered quantum phase technology decades ago, allowing ships to slip between dimensions, invisible to all conventional sensors. "They gave us 7 days, Walker said, addressing the room. "In 7 days, they'll learn why you never corner a species that evolved as prey, but learn to become the ultimate predators. Humanity doesn't just survive. We plan, we adapt, and when threatened, we strike with absolute precision." President Ross nodded solemnly. "Send the coded signal to our deep cover agents in Council space. Tell them, the game is on." The trap was set. The Council thought they were the hunters. Soon, they would learn they were the hunted all along. In the darkness of Earth's hidden command center, Commander Anna Stone watched the holographic display as thousands of green dots moved silently through space. Each dot represented a stealth ship, invisible to the Council's most advanced sensors. The operation was going exactly as planned. "Status report," she called out, her voice steady despite the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. "All ships report ready, Commander," replied Lieutenant Tom Baker from his station. "Project Nightfall is running at full capacity. The Council's sensors are only picking up our decoy signals." Above Earth's surface, things looked very different. To any watching alien eyes, humanity's military forces appeared to be powering down. Visible satellites drifted offline one by one. Ground bases went dark. It was the perfect picture of surrender. The Council's observation ships hung in high orbit, their crews smugly watching what they thought was humanity's submission. They didn't notice the quantum phase ships sliding between dimensions right past their hulls. "Message from Admiral Walker," announced Communications Officer Lisa West. "The Council has taken the bait. Their fleet is reducing alert status." Stone allowed herself a small smile. "They think we're rolling over to die." Begin Phase 2. Across the solar system, hidden facilities sprang into action. Beneath the red sands of Mars, massive hangar doors silently opened. From Jupiter's moon Europa, submarines broke through the ice, transforming into spaceworthy vessels. Each ship was a masterpiece of human engineering, designed to be completely undetectable. "Commander," Baker called out, "the first wave has reached their designated positions around Council space. Teams report all primary targets are mapped and locked." Stone nodded, remembering the years of preparation that led to this moment. While the Council had watched Earth's visible technology, humanity had secretly mastered dimensional shifting, quantum computing, and energy weapons that could pierce any known shield. "Update from deep cover agents," West reported. "Council leadership is celebrating. They're calling it the most peaceful surrender they've ever seen." A quiet chuckle ran through the command center. In Council space, their massive fuel refineries continued normal operations. The alien workers had no idea that human stealth teams were already inside their facilities, planting quantum charges that could shut down their entire fuel production network with the press of a button. "Time check," Stone called out. 48 hours since their ultimatum," Baker responded. 5 days remaining until their deadline." Stone stepped closer to the main display, watching as more green dots reached their positions. "Status of civilian preparations. All underground shelters are stocked and ready," West replied. "The public is calm. Everyone knows their role. Operations centers report zero panic, zero resistance." This was humanity's true strength, not just their hidden technology, but their unity. Every person on Earth knew this day would come. They had trained for it, prepared for it, waited for it. The Council thought they were dealing with a divided species. They couldn't be more wrong. "Message from President Ross," West announced. "Phase 3 is approved. We have permission to begin precision strikes as soon as all teams are in position." Stone took a deep breath. This was the point of no return. Once they struck, there would be no going back. The Council would learn too late that their ultimatum had triggered their own downfall. "Send the coded signal to all teams," Stone ordered. "Warning strikes will begin in exactly 24 hours. Remember, we're not here for revenge. We're here to dismantle their ability to threaten anyone ever again." As the command center hummed with activity, Stone thought about the Council's arrogance. They had assumed humanity would either submit or fight back openly. They never considered that humans might have spent decades preparing for this exact scenario. "Final check on quantum measures," she called out. "Make sure every team is properly phased. We only get one chance at a perfect first strike." The Council had given humanity 7 days to surrender. Instead, they had given humanity exactly the time needed to position their forces for a strike that would change the galaxy forever. In the silence of space, thousands of human ships waited in the quantum shadows, ready to teach the Council a lesson about underestimating humanity. The massive Council ships entered Earth's orbit with their weapons powered down. They expected to find a surrendering planet. Instead, they found empty space. No signs of orbital defense stations, reported the Council captain to High Speaker Turner. No military satellites. No resistance. The humans have truly submitted. In the quantum shadows, Commander Stone watched the Council fleet through her ship's advanced sensors. All teams, execute Operation Blindside. Hit every target simultaneously. No mistakes. Across Council space, hidden human ships emerged from their quantum phase states for a split second. Precision strikes hit fuel refineries, power stations, and military supply lines. Within minutes, the carefully planned attack had crippled 60% of the Council's fuel production. The first alarm started blaring in Council space exactly 3 minutes after the strikes began. "What do you mean, all gone?" High Speaker Turner shouted at his subordinate. "Refineries don't just disappear." But they had. The quantum charges planted by human stealth teams had shifted the refineries partially out of phase with normal space. To Council sensors, the facilities simply ceased to exist, taking with them the ability to fuel their massive war fleets. Admiral Walker stood in Earth's hidden command center, watching the chaos unfold. "Status report," he ordered. "All primary targets neutralize." Lieutenant Baker responded. "Council military ships are stranded without fuel reserves. Their response teams can't even reach the affected facilities. They can't detect what they can't see." In Council space, panic spread quickly. Ships that had been preparing to occupy Earth now found themselves running on emergency power, unable to reach their nearest refueling stations. "Second wave, begin your approach," Commander Stone ordered from her stealth carrier. Her fleet of ships emerged briefly from quantum phase, appearing like ghosts around the stranded Council vessels. "Remember, disable only. No casualties unless absolutely necessary." The Council ships never had a chance to fire a single shot. Human quantum weapons sliced through their engines with surgical precision, leaving them floating helplessly in space. The crews watched in shock as their mighty warships were crippled by an enemy they couldn't even detect. Message from Deep Cover Agent in Council Headquarters. Communications Officer West announced. "The Council is in complete disarray. They can't understand how we executed such a coordinated attack." Stone allowed herself a grim smile. "Send the message we prepared. Let's show them exactly who they're dealing with." On every Council communication channel, a single transmission began playing. Admiral Walker's voice, calm and measured, addressed the galaxy. "To the Galactic Council, you gave us 7 days to surrender. Instead, we used that time to demonstrate why threatening humanity was your greatest mistake. Your fuel refineries are gone. Your warships are stranded. Your military might has been dismantled without a single loss of life." In the Council chambers, High Speaker Turner's metallic skin had turned pale. "Impossible. They're primitives. We watched them for decades." "You watched what we wanted you to see," Walker's message continued. "While you observed our visible technology, we prepared in the quantum shadows. While you celebrated our apparent submission, we positioned our forces throughout your territory. Your ultimatum didn't frighten us. It simply gave us the excuse we needed to act." The Council's emergency response teams scrambled uselessly, unable to detect the quantum-phased human ships that now surrounded their most important military installations. "This is not a war," Walker's message concluded. "This is a lesson. Humanity doesn't seek revenge or domination. We seek only to ensure that you can never threaten us or any other species again. Your choice is simple. Step down from power peacefully, or we will dismantle your entire military infrastructure one piece at a time." Commander Stone watched as her crews secured the disabled Council ships. "Begin rescue operations for the stranded crews," she ordered. "Show them that humanity knows the difference between defeating an enemy and destroying them." The first strike was complete. In less than an hour, humanity had accomplished what the Council had thought impossible. And this was only the beginning. The Galactic Council's main chamber had never been so chaotic. Representatives from 30 different species shouted over each other, while emergency alerts flashed on every screen. In the center of it all, High Speaker Turner gripped his ornate desk, his metallic skin reflecting the red warning lights. "How did we not see this coming?" he demanded. "Where did they hide such advanced technology?" Head Counselor Marcus Reed watched the chaos with hidden satisfaction. After 20 years as a deep-cover human agent, he was finally seeing the Council crumble from within. "Perhaps," Reed suggested calmly, "we should consider opening diplomatic channels with Earth." His words caused even more uproar in the chamber. "Diplomacy," shouted a reptilian counselor. "They just destroyed our fuel production. They humiliated our fleet." Reed kept his face neutral, without causing a single casualty. "That shows remarkable restraint, doesn't it?" In Earth's command center, Admiral Walker watched the Council's meeting through hidden cameras. "They're turning on each other exactly as predicted," he noted to President Ross. "How's the coalition building going?" "3 more species have secretly reached out," she replied. "They're impressed by how we handled the situation. No bloodshed, no revenge, just precise strategic strikes." Across Council space, more chaos erupted. Without their fuel refineries, military ships drifted helplessly. Supply lines broke down. Trade routes went unprotected. The Council's iron grip on the galaxy was slipping. Commander Stone's fleet continued its systematic dismantling of Council defense networks. Her ships appeared and disappeared like ghosts, destroying weapons platforms and communication relays with surgical precision. "Council forces attempting to respond in Sector 7, reported Lieutenant Baker. "Their ships are running on emergency reserves." Stone nodded. "Let them come. They still haven't realized that their sensors can't detect us in quantum phase. Continue the operation." Back in the Council chamber, Reed watched as the political alliances of centuries broke apart in hours. Species that had been oppressed by the Council saw their chance for freedom. Those that had benefited from Council protection now feared for their safety. "The humans must be hiding more weapons," one counselor screamed. "They'll destroy us all." "If they wanted to destroy us," Reed pointed out, "they could have done it already. They've shown remarkable." A sudden explosion rocked the chamber. One of the Council's own defense platforms had turned its weapons on the Council building. In the confusion, 3 species announced their immediate withdrawal from the Council. Admiral Walker received the news with a grim smile. "Activate Phase 4, he ordered. "Show them what happens when they fire on their own people." Across the galaxy, human ships emerged from quantum phase near every Council military installation. Their message was broadcast simultaneously on all channels. "This is Admiral Walker of Earth. We have observed Council forces firing on civilian targets. This ends now. Any military vessel that powers up weapons will be immediately disabled. Any attempt to harm civilians will be met with direct intervention." In the Council chamber, Reed stood up. It was time for his final act. "Honored members," he announced, "I have a confession to make." The room fell silent. "I am not who you think I am. I represent Earth's intelligence service." The chaos that followed was spectacular. Council members tried to flee, only to find their private ships had been disabled. Security forces turned on each other, unsure who else might be a human agent. "The Council's authority is finished," Walker announced to his command staff. "Now comes the hard part, helping build something better in its place." Commander Stone watched from her bridge as Council ships began surrendering one by one. "Send medical and supply ships to assist any civilian populations affected by the Council's panic," she ordered. "Show them that humanity knows how to win a war and build a peace." The Council had threatened humanity with extinction. Instead, they had brought about their own downfall, without a single shot fired in actual combat. It was perhaps the most elegant military victory in galactic history. The Council's emergency bunker was filled with nervous diplomats from 15 different species. They weren't Council representatives anymore. They were survivors of a regime that had crumbled in days. "The humans have extended an offer," announced the former ambassador of the Blue Star Systems. "They want to help us build a new alliance, one based on equality, not control." Admiral Walker stood before Earth's united leadership, explaining the situation. "In the past 24 hours, we've received requests for protection from over 30 star systems. They're scared, but not of us. They're afraid the Council's collapse will lead to chaos." On the main screen, a map showed the rapidly changing political landscape of the galaxy. Green dots represented systems seeking alliance with Earth. Red showed the few remaining Council loyalists. The green was spreading fast. Commander Stone's fleet patrolled the trade routes, protecting civilian ships from opportunistic pirates who thought the Council's collapse was their chance to strike. Her quantum phase ships appeared whenever trouble started, ending conflicts before they could begin. "Another group of Council ships requesting permission to join our defense force," reported Lieutenant Baker. "They say they've seen how we operate. They want to be part of it." Stone reviewed the request on her screen. "Check their records. If they've never participated in civilian suppression, accept them. If they have, offer them civilian transport duties instead. Everyone deserves a chance to do better." In a distant star system, a Council loyalist fleet prepared for one final attack. They had gathered their remaining fuel reserves, hoping to prove that humanity could be defeated. Their sensors showed no human ships nearby. "Beginning attack run," announced their commander. "We'll show these humans they can't." His words cut off as quantum phase ships materialized around his fleet. Commander Stone's voice came through on all channels. "Power down your weapons. We're not here to fight. We're here to offer you a choice." The loyalist commander laughed. "What choice? Join us in building something better, or waste your lives trying to preserve a system that oppressed its own people. Those are your options. We'll wait while you decide." It took the loyalist fleet exactly 6 minutes to surrender. Back on Earth, President Ross met with representatives from formerly Council-controlled worlds. The meeting room was simple, without the grand ornaments the Council had used to intimidate others. "We don't want to replace the Council as rulers," Ross explained. "We want to help create a true alliance. Each world governs itself. We provide protection and technology sharing. No species commands another." A reptilian ambassador raised his hand. "But humans clearly have superior technology. What stops you from taking control like the Council did?" Admiral Walker stepped forward. "The same thing that stopped us from destroying the Council completely. Our belief that power means nothing without responsibility. We hid our advances because we wanted peace. We only revealed them when peace was threatened." In orbit above a former Council world, Commander Stone supervised the distribution of quantum shield technology to civilian ships. "Show them how to maintain the shields," she ordered her crew. "Make sure they understand the technology. Knowledge shared is better than knowledge hoarded." The Council's remaining loyalists watched in disbelief as their former subjects gained access to technology they had never dreamed possible. Human ships helped protect trade routes. Earth's scientists shared medical advances. Former enemies became allies. "Report from the outer systems," Baker told Stone. "The last major Council holdouts are requesting talks. They say they've seen enough to know fighting is pointless." Stone nodded. "Send them the same message we've sent everyone else. Join us as equals. Help us build something better. The age of masters and servants is over." The galaxy was transforming. Where the Council had ruled through fear, humanity led through example. Where there had been oppression, there was now opportunity. It wasn't just a victory. It was a revolution in how civilizations could interact. The Council had threatened humanity with extinction. Instead, they had triggered the birth of the most inclusive and advanced alliance the galaxy had ever seen. Deep in Council space, the remaining loyal forces gathered for one last, desperate attack. They had scraped together every working ship, every drop of fuel, and every weapon they could find. Their target, Earth itself. "Let them come," Admiral Walker said, watching their fleet movements on the command center's main screen. They're about to learn why we've been holding back. Commander Stone's voice came through the communications channel. Admiral, the Council fleet is larger than expected. They've managed to gather about 300 ships. And how many do we have in quantum phase around them? 2,000, sir. They still haven't detected a single one. The Council fleet moved through space, burning their last fuel reserves. Their leader, General Rivers of the Old Guard, stood proudly on his bridge. Today we show humanity that the Council cannot be defeated. Unknown to him, human ships surrounded his fleet in quantum phase, watching and waiting. Commander Stone had positioned her forces in a perfect sphere around the Council armada. They're preparing to jump to Earth, Lieutenant Baker reported. Should we stop them? No, Stone replied. Let them come to us. Everything is ready. The Council fleet appeared in Earth's orbit, weapons charged and ready to fire. General Rivers smiled as he saw no defensive ships, no orbital platforms, nothing to stop their attack. Open fire on their major cities, he commanded. Nothing happened. I said, open fire. Still nothing. Across his entire fleet, weapons systems failed to respond. Engines shut down. Life support was the only system still functioning. Admiral Walker's voice boomed across every channel. Welcome to Earth, General. We've been expecting you. The space around the Council fleet shimmered as 2,000 human ships phased into normal space. They had been there the whole time, waiting. What is this? General Rivers demanded. What have you done to our ships? We've uploaded our consciousness transfer technology into your systems, Walker explained calmly. Right now, every crew member on every one of your ships is experiencing what it's like to live under Council rule as an oppressed species. They're feeling everything your victims felt. In the Council ships, crews suddenly found their minds filled with memories of suffering under Council oppression, of watching their families struggle, of living in fear. They weren't being hurt. They were simply understanding. You can't do this, Rivers shouted. This is impossible. The same way our quantum phase technology was impossible. Commander Stone's voice cut in. The same way our victory was impossible. You still don't understand what you're dealing with. One by one, Council crew members began standing down. Many were crying, overwhelmed by the experiences they'd been shown. They finally understood what their regime had done to others. All ships except the flagship are powering down voluntarily, Baker reported. Their crews are. They're requesting asylum. General Rivers watched in horror as his fleet surrendered. But he had one last card to play. You think you've won. Our hidden bunker world is still safe. The Council will rebuild. Admiral Walker smiled. You mean the bunker world at these coordinates? He transmitted a series of numbers that made Rivers' face go pale. Commander Stone's forces have been there for days. Your leaders are already in custody. The general slumped in his chair as reality finally hit him. The Council hadn't just been defeated. They had been completely outmaneuvered from the very beginning. What happens now? He asked quietly. Now, Walker replied, you and your crew get the same choice everyone else got. Join us in building a better galaxy, or face trial for your actions. The difference is, after what you just experienced, you'll know exactly what you're being tried for. The Council's final push had failed not through violence, but through understanding. Humanity had found a way to win without destroying their enemies. They had simply shown them the truth. Stone watched from her bridge as medical ships moved in to help the shaken Council crews. Send in the counseling teams, she ordered. These people just had their entire worldview shattered. They'll need help processing it. The final battle for the galaxy had been won without firing a single shot. 3 months after the Council's final surrender, representatives from 500 star systems gathered in Earth's new Galactic Assembly. The massive chamber was built not to intimidate, but to welcome, its transparent dome showing the stars above. Admiral Walker stood at the simple podium, addressing the gathered species. Today marks the first meeting of the Galactic Alliance. Not an empire, not a council that rules through fear, but a true alliance of equals. In orbit, Commander Stone watched the proceedings from her ship. The space around Earth was filled with vessels from across the galaxy, all protected by human quantum shield technology. Former enemies now work together, sharing resources and knowledge. Another report from the rehabilitation centers. Lieutenant Baker announced, 90% of former Council military personnel have completed their consciousness-sharing therapy. Most are requesting to join peacekeeping forces. Stone nodded. The therapy hadn't just shown them their past crimes. It had shown them a better way forward. Approve those who show genuine change. Everyone deserves a second chance. In the detention facility where former council leaders awaited trial, head counselor Marcus Reed, still proud of his role as a human deep cover agent, interviewed the prisoners. Many had one burning question. How long? Asked former High Speaker Turner. How long had humans really been advanced enough to defeat us? Reed smiled. We had quantum phase technology before you even knew Earth existed. We saw your scout ships centuries ago. Every advancement you observed was carefully staged. But why hide it? Turner asked. Why not just show your power? Because true strength isn't about showing power, Reed explained. It's about knowing when not to use it. Back in the assembly chamber, President Ross unveiled humanity's greatest secret. For 500 years, we watched the galaxy. We saw the Council's oppression. We prepared not just technology, but plans for what would come after. Today, we share everything. Massive screens displayed technical specifications for faster-than-light travel, quantum shielding, clean energy systems, and medical advances that could extend lifespans across all species. The assembly erupted in amazed whispers. All of this, Ross continued, is now available to every world in the Alliance. But it comes with responsibility. Each advancement requires proof that it will be used for growth, not conquest. Commander Stone received new orders on her bridge. Her fleet would lead the first joint peacekeeping force, ships from 20 different species, working together to protect trade routes and respond to distress calls. First patrol starts in an hour, she told her crew. We'll be serving alongside former council ships. Remember, they're allies now. They've learned, just as we all must learn. In the assembly, Admiral Walker made the final announcement. The human race hid its advancement because we were waiting. Not for the right moment to conquer, but for the right moment to help. We didn't want subjects. We wanted equals. He gestured to the stars visible through the dome. Out there are thousands more species, some just beginning their journey to the stars. Our job now is to be better guardians than the Council was. To guide, not rule. To help, not control. The assembly chambers filled with applause from hundreds of species. Former Council worlds, once bitter enemies, now sat together planning trade agreements. Oppressed races now had voices equal to their former masters. Stone watched a group of children from different species playing in one of Earth's new parks. They were using human quantum technology to phase in and out, playing an interstellar version of hide and seek. That's why we won, she told her crew. Not to rule the galaxy, but to see this, all species living and growing together. The Council had threatened humanity with extinction. Instead, humanity had given the galaxy something it had never had before. True freedom, true equality, and a future where advancement meant lifting everyone up together. As the sun set on this new era, humans and aliens alike looked to the stars not with fear or hunger for power, but with hope. The age of oppression was over. The age of cooperation had begun.